Today, we're diving into something you might not think about every day,
Yeah.
but it's incredibly important.
hmm
Radon gas in your home.
It's,
Knowing about it
yeah,
could actually protect your health
absolutely.
and even impact your home's value.
That's right.
We're using the Canadian Real Estate Association's Homeowner's Guide to Radon as our guide
Okay.
for this deep dive.
Mm,
So imagine
yeah.
a silent, invisible threat
Ooh,
lurking in your home.
right.
That's radon.
It is.
An odorless,
Yeah.
colorless,
Yeah.
radioactive gas.
And it comes from a surprising source. The natural breakdown of uranium in the ground, it's everywhere, really, but the levels vary widely.
And those varying levels are what we need to pay attention to, right?
Absolutely.
Because I was surprised to read that radon is actually the second leading cause of lung cancer.
That's right.
Really?
It's right behind smoking. When you breathe in radon, these tiny radioactive particles get lodged in your lungs. Over time, they release radiation, damaging the cells and potentially leading to cancer.
Oh, wow.
And if you are a smoker, the risk from radon is significantly higher.
Oh, okay, so radon is dangerous.
It is.
But how widespread is this
A
problem?
Health Canada study found that 7% of Canadians live with high radon levels, and that number can jump to 20% in some provinces.
Wow, that's concerning.
It is.
So where you live definitely plays a role.
Mm-hmm.
But how does radon actually get into our homes?
Think of your house like a ship. Any crack or gap, no matter how small, can become an entry point for radon. Cracks in the foundation, gaps around pipes, floor drains, sumps, they all act as potential pathways.
So it's like radon is constantly trying to sneak in,
Yeah,
and it's exploiting our home's weaknesses to do it.
exactly. And what's interesting is that several factors affect indoor radon levels, not just those entry points. The type of soil your house is built on, its construction, even seasonal changes all come into play.
So even if my neighbor's house has low radon levels, mine could be a completely different story.
Precisely.
Really?
There are too many variables to rely on anything but direct testing of your own home.
This makes me wonder about newer homes.
Yeah.
Are they less susceptible to radon, especially with modern building codes?
That's a good question. While many new homes are built with radon-resistant features these days, testing is still crucial. Building codes are getting better, but they don't guarantee anything.
So don't get complacent just because your house is brand new.
Right.
Okay.
And this brings up an interesting point about how seriously radon is being taken. The Tatarian Warranty Corporation in Ontario now offers coverage for radon remediation in new homes up to $15,000. It shows a growing awareness of the issue and how it's not just a problem in older houses.
Wow, that's really insightful.
Yeah.
Seems like this is a good time to bring up testing. What can you tell us about how it works?
Testing for radon is thankfully easy and affordable. You have two main options: do-it-yourself test kits, which are readily available, or hiring a certified radon professional.
So there are options for different comfort levels and budgets, but I imagine professional testing is more reliable.
Both can provide reliable results, but there's a key difference in time frame. DIY kits are great for a quick snapshot, but for the most accurate picture, we recommend long-term testing, ideally for 3 months or longer.
Why is the longer time frame so important?
Radon levels can fluctuate throughout the year due to a number of factors, so a longer test gives you a better idea of your average exposure.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, let's say you do the test and the results show high radon levels. What happens next?
That's when mitigation comes in. The
Uh,
good news is that radon problems are fixable. It's not a hopeless situation.
okay, that is reassuring. But what exactly constitutes a high level?
In Canada, the guideline for radon is 200 becquerels per cubic meter. If your test results are above that, you'll want to consult a certified radon mitigation professional.
So we have a specific number to watch out for, and it's best to leave the remediation to the experts. Can you explain a bit about how these mitigation systems work?
Absolutely. There are a few common approaches. One of the most common methods is a system that uses a fan to pull radon from beneath your home and safely vent it outside.
So essentially, you're sucking the radon out from under the house. How does this system actually work in practice?
Well, it involves installing a piping system that runs from beneath the foundation to a point above the roofline. The fan creates negative pressure under the house, drawing radon out through this pipe and releasing it harmlessly into the atmosphere.
That sounds fairly straightforward. But I imagine the specifics can vary depending on the home, right?
Absolutely. For instance, if you have an exposed crawl space, A slightly different method might be used. It involves creating a barrier over the exposed soil or rock, and then using a similar fan system to draw the radon out from under that barrier.
And how effective are these systems in actually reducing radon levels?
When properly designed and installed, these types of systems can reduce radon levels by up to 95%, which is pretty impressive.
That is a significant reduction. Are there other types of mitigation systems besides these under-house approaches?
Yes, there are. One example is a heat recovery ventilator, or HRV. This system works by exchanging indoor and outdoor air while recovering some of the heat energy. So it improves ventilation while also being energy efficient.
That sounds like a good option, especially in terms of energy savings. How effective are these in reducing radon?
While they can reduce radon levels, they're generally not as effective as the systems that directly target radon beneath the house. You can expect a reduction of about 50%, but they require continuous maintenance to remain effective.
Okay, so we have a range of options depending on the specific characteristics of the home and the desired level of radon reduction. What about the cost of these systems? Are they a significant investment?
It's a reasonable investment, especially considering the potential long-term health benefits. The cost typically ranges between $2,500 and $5,000, but it can vary depending on the complexity of the system and the specific needs of your home. It's comparable to other common home improvements.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
And when you think about it, it's an investment in your health and well-being, which is priceless.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a certified radon mitigation professional can help you determine the most cost-effective solution for your particular situation.
That's great to know. So, while mitigating radon does involve some cost, it's often on par with other home improvements we make. But it's interesting to think about how these mitigation systems can offer benefits beyond just protecting our health. What else can these systems do?
You're exactly right. These systems, especially the ones that pull air from beneath the house,
Right.
can actually do more than just address radon.
Oh, really? I'm curious, what else can they do?
Remember how those systems are essentially creating a vacuum under your house?
Well, that vacuum can also remove excess moisture and other soil gases that might be present.
Oh.
It's kind of a two-for-one deal.
So it's not just protecting us from radon, it's improving the overall air quality in the basement too.
Exactly. This can be especially beneficial if you have a basement that's prone to dampness or musty odors. And if we think about the bigger picture, this can have a positive impact on your home's value.
That's a good point. Radon awareness is growing,
Right.
and more home buyers are considering radon levels when making a purchase.
It's definitely becoming a more important factor. Having a mitigation system in place or even just knowing your home's radon level can give potential buyers peace of mind.
It's like a selling point that says this is a healthy home.
Exactly. It shows that you've taken proactive steps to create a safe and healthy environment.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. From understanding what radon is and why it's dangerous to how to test for it and mitigate the risks.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else about radon that you think people should know?
I think one of the biggest takeaways is that radon is a serious health risk, but it's manageable.
Right.
Testing is the first step,
Uh-huh.
and it's easier and more affordable than many people realize.
Yes, testing is key. And if the results show high levels,
Yeah,
there are effective mitigation systems that can significantly reduce exposure.
absolutely. And remember, even if your home is relatively new,
Right.
testing is still a good idea. Building codes are improving, but radon can be unpredictable.
Right. It seems like the message is don't take any chances when it comes to radon.
Exactly. Knowledge is power, and the more you know about radon, the better equipped you'll be to protect yourself and your loved ones.
I love that. Knowledge is power. So before we let our listeners go, let's leave them with something to think about. Would you consider getting a radon test before buying your next home? What about testing the home you're in right now?
Those are great questions to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Radon is often overlooked, but it's something every homeowner or potential homeowner should be aware of.
Absolutely. And speaking of things people should know, I wanted to touch on a common misconception I came across while researching this topic. I've often heard that simply sealing cracks in your foundation is a good way to prevent radon from entering your home.
Ah, yes, that's a common myth. It might seem logical,
Right.
but it's not a reliable solution on its own.
Can you explain why that is? I'm sure many people believe that sealing up those entry points would be enough.
Well, think about it this way. Radon is constantly being generated in the soil surrounding your home.
Okay.
Sealing cracks might slow it down a bit, but it's not going to stop it entirely. It's a bit like trying to keep water out of a boat with a few pieces of tape.
That's a great analogy. So sealing might be helpful as part of a larger strategy, but it's not a cure-all.
Exactly. The most effective way to deal with radon is to directly address the source, which is why those mitigation systems we discussed are so important.
It seems like the key takeaway here is that if you're concerned about radon, the best course of action is to consult with a certified radon professional.
Absolutely.
They can assess your home, determine the best approach, and ensure that any mitigation system is properly designed and installed.
They have the knowledge and experience to handle the situation correctly and effectively.
Well, it seems like we've successfully navigated the radon maze today. We've learned what radon is, why it's a concern, how to test for it, and most importantly, how to protect ourselves from its risks.
And we even discovered that those radon mitigation systems can offer some bonus benefits, like improving basement air quality.
Yeah,
It's amazing how these things connect.
it is. So to our listeners, we hope you found this deep dive informative and helpful. Remember, knowledge is the first step toward taking action.
And taking action is the best way to protect your health and create a safer home environment.
To continue your radon journey, we encourage you to check out the resources we've included in the show notes. You'll find links to organizations like Health Canada, CAR-RST, the Canadian Lung Association, and the Canadian National Radon Proficiency Program.
They're all fantastic sources of information and guidance.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe.